The Winter Olympics are, believe it or not, right around the corner. They're next February in northern Italy. That means it's a busy time right now in Lake Placid, where bobsledders, lugers, ski jumpers, and biathletes all train. A record-breaking gold medalist was in town recently, and in addition to some training, she got in some high peaks hiking. We catch up with star cross-country skier Jessie Diggins on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Clarkson University, offering over 95 programs of study with campuses in the Hudson Valley, Central, and Northern New York. More at clarkson.edu.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Friday, September 19th. First up, the manhunt for a murder suspect from Cohoes is still underway in the Adirondacks. Anthony Beechin's truck was found near Paul Smith's hours after his girlfriend's body was found at the home they shared in Cohoes. Cohoes Police Chief Todd Walden said they're eager to apprehend Beechin.
I don't like the idea of this person being on the loose, whether he's up in that area or whether he's somewhere else. He's somebody who we believe committed a horrible crime and a dangerous person that we do not want out there in the public.
As of midday yesterday, Walden said they hadn't found any signs of Beechin. He's urging the public to call police with any tips.
If you have any suspicion at all about something being out of place or a person that you think looks like him, there's no harm in calling and letting us know.
The state police tip line is 518-897-2000. Beechin is 53 years old, 5'11", with brown hair and brown eyes. State politicians are getting involved in the New York City mayoral race, and a new poll has some good news for Democrats. For a wrap-up of the week in state politics, the New York Public News Network's Andrew Waite and Jimmy Vielkind discuss the latest.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, Andrew.
So some top New York State officials weighed in on the New York City mayoral race this week, and they seem to be coalescing around a single candidate. What happened, and what do you think the effect's going to be?
Well, we saw both Assembly Speaker Carl Heastie and Governor Kathy Hochul give their endorsements to Assemblymember Zohran Mamdani. Now, maybe in a normal year it wouldn't be a headline, top Democratic officials back, leader of Democratic primary. But especially for Governor Hochul, who got most of the attention here, the politics are an unlikely pairing. So Hochul is a moderate centrist. Mamdani is an unabashed progressive and run with the support of the Democratic Socialists of America. So that immediately drew lots of questions and raised some eyebrows. But I think that the calculus is quite clear. Mamdani gets the imprimatur of the establishment and gets another door that's shut to two other Democrats who are still in the general election race, though not running on the Democratic Party line. Those are Andrew Cuomo and Eric Adams, the current mayor of New York City.
Though it's not clear how much this will actually move people to the polls. And I saw some jokes that since Hochul's registered to vote in Buffalo, her endorsement's not even worth a single vote. This seems really more to be a sign that top leaders in the Democratic Party are starting to coalesce around a single party nominee.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think there will actually be more to come. Two of the big people that we're still watching for are Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of the Democratic caucus in the House of Representatives, and U.S. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Both of those men come from Brooklyn. Now, Hochul and Schumer and Jeffries had sort of different calculations. Hochul's looking at a potential re-election in 2026. Mamdani is the darling of progressives in New York City. That's a coveted voting bloc that could really be helpful to Hochul. Some listeners might remember she had a closer than expected run in 2022. But Schumer and Jeffries see things differently. They're looking at a broader scale. Both of them are trying to win back congressional majorities. And to do that, they need to win races in purple areas in suburbs. So Mamdani doesn't play necessarily quite as well there.
Right. So do you think, especially for someone like Governor Hochul, who you mentioned will be running in 2026 for re-election, is there the risk of any sort of backlash coming from an endorsement of Mamdani?
Yeah, I think there will be some of that. The big question is whether the progressive boost is going to be worth sort of the drop-off on the right. Moderates, independents, Republicans, take your pick. Already on Thursday, we heard New York Democratic Party Chairman Jay Jacobs, who comes from Long Island on Nassau County, one of those purple areas. He said very pointedly he will not be endorsing Mamdani, and he said he really didn't like Mamdani's association with the Democratic Socialists of America. To say nothing of Republicans who have been livid and kind of pouncing on this like red meat ever since the announcement came in a New York Times op-ed on Sunday night. So I talked with Assemblymember Jarrett Gandolfo. He's from Suffolk County, and here's the way he put it.
If I'm talking to my neighbors who are on the fence, I'm going to tell them, look, I don't think you're happy with what's going on in the city. I don't think you're happy with a socialist mayor, but Kathy Hochul supports him. She endorsed him.
The other thing to consider is how this impacts Hochul's relationship with Donald Trump. I recently wrote about how their relationship was actually in a pretty decent place. Trump said that he gets along with Hochul. He didn't send the National Guard to New York because Hochul told him not to. That's a big contrast with other areas. But his reaction to the endorsement of Mamdani was pretty stark. He said on social media that he's going to rethink sending funding to the state of New York if Mamdani gets elected, now that Hochul's behind him.
That was the New York Public News Network's Andrew Waite and Jimmy Vielkind. The most decorated cross-country skier in American history is in the Adirondacks this week. Jessie Diggins and other top athletes are training in Lake Placid. The Olympic Village is set to host the World Cup finals for cross-country skiing later this winter. Along with doing strength and conditioning at the Olympic Center, Diggins also tackled a big hike in the Adirondack High Peaks last weekend. Emily Russell has the story.
Jessie Diggins has accomplished a lot during her ski career. She was the first American cross-country skier ever to win an Olympic medal.
Diggins making the play around Sweden. Jessie Diggins to the line. And it is Jessie Diggins.
That was NBC's coverage of the 2018 Games. She's now won 3 Olympic medals. Diggins also ended last season as the best female professional cross-country skier in the world. When she's not racing in Europe, Diggins trains with a professional team in Vermont. She sometimes comes to the Adirondacks for training camps, like the one this week in Lake Placid. This time, she got to step away from the gym and the roller ski course for a little cross-training in the mountains, including up the Trap Dike. It's a challenging and technical section of Mount Colden. She recounted the adventure to NPR's Brian Mann.
So we went out and back up Wright Peak. We went up Algonquin, and we dropped down and followed the river down to Avalanche Lake. And then we get up to the bottom of the Trap Dike, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is legit. Like, this is some rock scrambling.
Diggins was hiking with her coach and 2 other professional skiers. They scrambled up the Trap Dike, and then Diggins faced another new challenge, hiking up the long rock slab that leads to the summit of Mount Colden.
I had this moment where I was just clinging to the rock, like, I don't know if I trust myself to do this. So it was a really great team bonding experience. It was very funny. It was a really cool adventure. And we were out there in the mountains pretty much all day.
Diggins is 34 years old. She's been skiing all her life and has been competing professionally for nearly half that time. To stay happy and fulfilled, Diggins says she needs the kind of thrills she got from her hike up Mount Colden last weekend.
I'm someone who thrives on adventure and a little bit of adrenaline. And if I just put my head down and grind for 15 years of a career with none of that, I think I would burn out.
The World Cup ski season begins in Europe in a few months. Then the Winter Olympics are in Italy in February. And a month later, about 150 of the best cross-country skiers in the world will end their seasons in Lake Placid for the World Cup finals. It's the first time the season ender will be held in the U.S. Diggins says she's stoked to come back to Lake Placid.
It's stunning. It's beautiful. I'm really excited for people to come and cheer for World Cup finals here because it's just a cool town. I mean, the history of Lake Placid's amazing and the Adirondacks are gorgeous. And it's just a very cool place to be training and racing.
Diggins and her teammates will finish their week in the Adirondacks with a roller ski race on Saturday. The event is open to the public. It begins at 11 a.m. at the Mount Van Hoevenberg Olympic Complex in Lake Placid. Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio.
We have more news all the time and through the weekend on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Lost in Beijing of Keane and Tim Ellifritz of Johnsburg. Have a great weekend. I'm David Sommerstein, North Country Public Radio.